What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. It is the 9th day of July. We're moving right through this month. Here we are at about 62.7K. You guys, it's the 9th day of July, 2026. We're more than halfway done with this year. What the hell is going on? This time needs to stop moving so fast. Here we are. 62.7K, 11 hours, 38 minutes left in the day. Let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about the price action. We have moved down a little bit, as expected. Today we're moving up a little bit, right? We're just kind of consolidating. We're doing this really weird consolidation here, and I think it looks even weirder in the 1 hour time frame. If we look at this here, it's just odd, right? I mean, you've rounded your top off. You haven't seen the normal flash crash drop that you get with these rounded top procedures. Maybe you're still rounding off and maybe it's yet to come. Maybe that's part of the process. Sometimes it does exaggerate, but at this point, if I expect something to go a certain way because I've seen these setups happen before, I've been doing technical analysis for 11 years. If I expect to see a setup go a certain way and it doesn't end up happening, sometimes that's a oftentimes even that's a signal that maybe you should expect the opposite to happen. If we're expecting a drop to happen and it's just not happening, might be time to start expecting some upside. I want to look at these liquidation levels real quick. Let's just look at these and see what we're dealing with. Is there more heat to the upside than to the downside? And there's still a lot of heat to the downside, guys. There's still a lot. I mean, this would make me think we're going lower. We still do have lower highs, bounce area here. Little double bottom, but we could definitely still go lower. Maybe I jumped the gun on saying we haven't dropped yet. Let's look at the liquidation map over here. I like this format more, but sometimes that heat map is a better representation. Over the last day, more longs than shorts. Over the last week, it's pretty tit for tat, but still more longs than shorts. And over the past 30 days, longs have taken over compared to shorts. Okay, so more than enough fuel to the fire to go to the downside. We still do have a lower high after all right here. And I mean, really looking at it, if you're thinking objectively, bouncing from this area, we had a very powerful reaction here. You had a semi, okay, a semi. You had a semi-powerful reaction there. I don't know why TradingView does that. TradingView's been glitching, man. It'll just automatically take me from my brush to this for whatever reason. But anyways, having a weaker reaction from this area, that's not a good thing. That is a sign of weakness, to be fair. And I guess you still are kind of rounding off. We look at this on the 1 hour time frame, rejecting the overbought zone on the RSI. No bueno. We don't like that. That's not good. Stochastics coming down. They do look bearish, and the MACD is right at a place you'd expect it to reject. As you're moving down, volume's coming in a little bit, right above average. As you're moving up, no volume is really coming in. 4 hour time frame here. Yeah, the 4 hour RSI does look bearish, and you're actually right at the area you'd expect to reject. Okay, so yeah, maybe we do come down. We're doing the opposite today, I think, of what we did this day and this day and this day. Where on these days we started off the day moving down. By the time the stock market opened up, we moved up. We started off the day moving down. By the time the stock market opened up, we moved up. And I hope you're understanding what I'm saying there, because whenever the stock market opens up, it's early in the day for the United States. United States is a crypto powerhouse. There's a lot of crypto investors and traders in the United States, and around the world there are a lot of people who base their trading and stuff around the time the United States wakes up. There's people that do that. Stock market opening up at 7:30. There are traders. There are professional, institutionally backed market makers and investors, money managers who are involved with crypto. Whenever the stock market opens up, they go to work, and that's from this time of day, that would be in about an hour. So if we're looking at this on an hourly basis, what is the 12th hour of the day, right? Yeah, it'd be the 13 and a half hour of the day. That's when the stock market opens up. So when the stock market opens up, oftentimes, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, oftentimes if you see the price pumping and then the stock market opens up, we retrace from there. If the price is dumping and then the stock market opens up, you'll see a pump from there. Not always. It's not perfect, but I think that's typically because the stock market or the institutional investors and traders, they counterplay whatever the degens are doing early in the morning or late at night. I think they counterplay the leveraged positions, and they make some easy money doing that. It's not always that this happens, but if you kind of treat it like a rule of thumb without any other analysis, you'll be more right than you are wrong most of the time. Not always. There are plenty of times when you move down before the stock market opens up, the stock market opens, and then you move lower. You move up before the stock market opens, and then you move higher. There's plenty of times where that happens as well. So using that as blind faith is not always going to lead you the right way, but oftentimes it does. And then here we look at the 4 hour. I mean, this RSI does look bearish, right? We've got resistance literally coming in right here, guys. We're in this trend. We're probably going to go into the oversold zone before this trend is over. So that means lower is what we're going to do. I hope I explained my theory properly there. I feel like I wasn't the most well spoken there, but whatever. 382 bounce to the 236, so common to do. And you are finding resistance. Typically what we see in this environment is that you do go to the golden ratio. That would take us down to about $60,300 to 59.7K. What kind of move is that there? Let's see. That's about a 4% move. Yeah, 4% move. You throw some heavy leverage on there. You do a tight stop loss at 63K. I mean, you got a nice little play there, honestly. It's a pretty good position to go short. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Just saying though. That's, if I wasn't in a different position with some trades right now, I normally don't go over 5x leverage, but I would throw on 10 to 20x leverage on this. And again, have that stop loss at 63K. I'm pretty confident we're going to go down, guys. I mean, the stochastics look bearish, the MACD looks bearish. All of it. I'm pretty confident we're going to go lower. And where is that lower target? I'm sorry. My monkey brain was working and thinking, we can make money going short here. The price would be 60.2K to 59.7K. Yeah, that sounds about right? That's the area where we look at the past week. That's where a lot of these longs are getting liquidated. Yeah, right there at 60K, man. This whole entire island of longs gets evaporated at 60K. So if you imagine that we move down, more longs will pile on, more shorts will pile on too, maybe even more shorts than longs, but more longs will pile on. So it says 60K. Treat this island as if it's mobile. It'll probably shift back a little bit. People will cover their long positions. They'll get liquidated. They'll go long again, whatever the case may be. New longs will enter the market. So it's 60K here that this really gets liquidated, but it might be a little bit past 60K. That's how I like to think of it typically. That doesn't always work. Again, sometimes you don't clear out the whole island. Sometimes you push through the middle of it and then you come back. That happens plenty of times too, especially in spoofed market conditions. But golden ratio right there, it lines up with that the ending of that island of liquidity. It makes sense to me. It makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. 60K or lower. I'm very much believing that we have found a low to rely on, that we are going to get a higher low and then recover from there. But it really does depend on if we bounce from here. If we don't bounce from here, we start finding resistance from here, that could pose some problems, guys. We could be going below 57K. Absolutely we could. We look at this on a daily time frame. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Here, I got to exit out of that. There we go. Daily time frame, the RSI actually doesn't look bad from here, bouncing off the 50, but it's pretty common when you reject off the 60 to either bounce from the 50 or go down to the 40 and bounce from there. And let's imagine that we go down to the 40. Look at that. That's perfect, right? That's perfect. We take our downtrend in the 4 hour RSI here and we replace it with an uptrend, or not even replace it, but just interact with this uptrend in the daily RSI. And again, higher low here in the RSI, bouncing off the 40, I would think that we go higher. Just like the 4 hour time frame, I would expect that we go into the oversold zone. The daily time frame, I would expect goes to the overbought zone. Going into the end of this month, we probably rally, and likely from there we will see highs that are higher than this, somewhere around 68K and above. So that's coming. Overall, again, in the short term, we're bearish. But in the more intermediate term, we're just pretty neutral. Pumps get dumped into, dumps get pumped into, pumps get dumped into, dumps get pumped into. We're just moving sideways and consolidating. And that's been the idea we've had since the beginning of this consolidation phase. Just like the idea that we had back here was that we would be consolidating until May, June, July. And I really did think that we'd be consolidating till June, July. That'd be when we broke out. But man, it was May. It was May that we broke out to the downside. It was May that we broke out of this consolidation phase. It was a little bit earlier than expected, but early June, I guess, was really when we had the major breakout. But still, main point being, this consolidation phase, since the beginning, I've suspected that it would last until late July or sometime in August. So this is the window that we're working with. And then the last move down should be the end of the bear market, whether it's in August, whether it's in September, whether it's in October. The last move down should start, I think, sometime in August or September, and we should see the end of the bear market in August, September, October. That's my assumption. And then for months, I'm drawing it like this because I really do believe it'll be like this. It won't be like this. It's not going to be this terrible thing that takes us below 40K. Maybe it is. But I'm thinking this will be a more tame reaction. We'll probably see something that takes us to below 55K, but above 40K. 43K. 43K is really my worst case scenario for this bear market, and it's completely possible that we do go below 43K, but I'm really thinking 43 to 55K. That's the range that we've refined over the months, so that's the range that I'm sticking with. We could bounce right at 54K. We do not have to go below 50K, okay? But the idea is when we find this low, we're going to consolidate. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. What's going to happen here, guys? Again, this is the theory. Oh, come on. I'm not. Why that? The theory is most people expect that the bear market is going to end sometime in October to December. Okay, most people think this is when the bear market's going to end. As far as where, everybody's got a different story. Okay, everybody thinks below 30K, below 55K, that was the low. Everybody has a different story for where. But for when, the majority of the market seems to have this context that October to December is going to be the low, or it's going to be the time when we see that bear market finale. So me thinking counter to that in this contrarian state of mind, I think we're going to see the rally happen beforehand to the downside. I say rally, the crash. And then what's going to happen is we're going to consolidate. Just like when we crashed here, we consolidated and then crashed and then consolidated and then crashed and then consolidated and then crashed and then consolidated and then crashed. By the time that we consolidate over here, people are going to say, oh, okay, here comes October, November. That's the end of that bear market. This is when we see it. They're going to expect a crash. And it's not going to be what people expect it to be. We're just going to be consolidating more. We're going to be in this long-term accumulative phase. It's going to be accumulation. And then where people are expecting this dump, this one last dump for the bear market to be finished, mark my words, it's going to have that exact attitude as we're going into this. The whole damn space is going to make it as if there's one last drop. We're almost done with the bear market, but there's one more drop. People won't be convinced this is the low, like they were that this was the low, like they were that this was the low, like I was that this was the low, right? People won't be convinced that this is the low. I didn't think this is the bear market low. I just thought this is a low at which we'd bounce off of. But I was wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I could be wrong here. Mark my words. When everybody thinks that we have one more drop to go, just a little bit lower, it's going to happen in October, November. That's what the rhetoric's going to be. That's when accumulation's happening. That's when nobody's selling their coins. That's when people are buying if they're smart, selling if they're dumb. And then we're in recovery time. And when we recover, it's probably not going to be like this. It'll be, some kind of something that takes us back above 60K. We still consolidate. We're in this long-term accumulative phase. And then we slowly start to turn a bullish tide as 2027 develops. We're not going to really see any signals of bullishness, I think, until maybe as late as Q2 or later in 2027. But we will stop seeing signs of bearishness going into late Q3, if not Q4 of this year. Let me see something. Okay, cool. All right. Anyways, that's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, cool. If you didn't, hit Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.